We interrupt your regularly scheduled program to bring you another episode of We Can Help with Dave and Woody, already in progress.
And then I'm writing down a time. So,
Okay.
and you started it at oddball time, so I don't know how to add seven to 45.
I think it's 52.
52. Okay, there we go.
Hey, I'm
So
popping the seal. The
on
beverage
what?
for the night.
Oh, I thought you meant going to the bathroom.
That would be, we'll talk about that
A
later.
little late.
So, yeah, whoops. I'm in a plastic chair, but that was the thing. So, I got a question for you. When we were kids, this was the original color of Gatorade.
Yes.
What do you call that color?
Lime green.
So, you think it's green?
It's not yellow. Is that what you're about to say?
Well,
It's going in and out on the camera.
I say it's green. And so when this is the color
Oh, I see where this is going.
yeah, but my wife says, no, it's yellow. And I'm like, you're out of your mind. I said,
It's like it's like that dress that was either blue or gold a few years
yeah,
back.
I never really understood that, but I
It's
got a new
amazing.
glass.
Yeah. How much you pay for that?
25 cents.
Oh, nice. Was it a part of a set and you broke the set up? Or
No, I
well, explain where you got it
at
and
the clothes
advertise a little bit.
at the clothes closet and food pantry where I am the chairman of the board. So sometimes we don't take a lot of household items, but for some reason someone was bringing in glassware, and people who are in desperate need for food are more interested in food than glassware. But sometimes we help people set up their house.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how many double rocks people are drinking when they're in crisis, but who knows?
Hey. Well, that might be why they're in a crisis. So
Yeah.
the person's on their feet doing well, and then you give them a nice drinking
They'll
glass.
fall off the wagon.
They're like, hey, look, hey, this is nice. Yeah. And
Well,
right back
so
they go.
I've got this addiction to, I've got relatively large hands. I guess I'm a big
Yeah.
guy. And so glassware, every time I see a cool glass, I hold it and say, oh, it's comfortable in my hand. So I'm the chairman of the board, but we have a system where we used to have a garage sale. We don't do the garage sale anymore, but what we do, if you see something, I really don't take anything from there, but we have a process that we have garage sale prices. So I think these were 25 cents a piece.
That's
And then
not
I had a
bad.
set of three. So I said, here's $1.
Is it a thin glass?
Um, I don't know. It's definitely a double rocks, you know.
Okay.
I'm going to use it that the one big one I bought is really heavy, the heavy tumbler. And I'm going to use that for ice and bourbon. This one I'm going to use when we do the dram, when we have a dram, because
Oh,
it's
okay.
lighter.
Today you're uh-oh. Today
Yeah.
you're sticking to the green Gatorade.
Yeah, I got a little bit of a problem, Woody.
Well, so so most of us find like a comfort food or something to get us through stomach. So those listening, Dave's got a bit of a stomach bug going.
Yeah.
I guess you could categorize it as. So he's been gracious enough to still push through this evening and try to entertain you folks. So give a what's it called on YouTube? Thumbs up, I guess. A like. Give us a like. If just for Dave's a little something for the effort. There you go. I don't think they'll show up on the
I don't know.
video though.
So
We'll have to see.
this is ultimately what Woody's talking about, what I'm suffering from.
Uh, yes. So
Yeah.
a flurry of poop emojis went by.
Little precursor to my aged down the road last night. Ooh.
So your go-to is green Gatorade then
Well,
when
the
you're
problem
feeling ill?
is no, I'm dehydrated because of
Yeah, I know.
I don't like talking too much about this. I'm sure people have put it together,
Well,
but
we'll stick to the highlights only. But when you're sick with anything, a cold or anything, you're dehydrated. So you have to find something that
uh,
is
green
relatively
green Gatorade.
yeah, okay.
It's
Mine's
my
ginger. Ginger ale is my go-to.
Do you go
But
Verner's?
I go, no, I don't think so. Seagram's probably, but mainly anything in a 2 liter bottle because then I could just keep it next to my bed
You
and
know,
suck off the teat of the 2 liter.
Sheila, her father, who's deceased, but apparently I never met him, but he was a big fan of the Vernors, and I'd never
Okay.
heard of it before. And so she got sick sometime, and she said, "Pick up some Vernors Canada Dry. It's tasty."
Yeah, some of them don't even have real. So the whole idea, and I guess what works in my brain is that ginger is supposed to calm your stomach, and but
Mm.
some ginger ales don't even have ginger in them anymore. So you have to be, you know, cognizant of that when you're choosing which one you're going to use. But I think it's a little bit of mind over matter for me. I can go green Gatorade. Can you go orange Gatorade?
Mm.
You
I
know
don't
what?
know.
I can't do red. Can't even,
I
I
can't
can't do
do.
it.
I don't like blue either, and that
I'm okay
ice.
with blue. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that we're talking about it's a color, but I know there's some folks that do
It's
that.
just whatever beetle or dye they. Well, hey,
What are they
it might be
called?
outlawed shortly, so we might have a
Lemon,
shortage of red Gatorade soon.
lemon lime. That's what they call it.
Okay, that
Anyway, so
Gatorade's awesome, and it's invented right up the road from you too.
Gainesville, Florida, apparently.
Yeah, right for the Gators. They were trying to figure a way to replenish what they sweated out quicker.
Their football squad, and the guy got
Right,
ripped off.
without giving them IVs. Now you can go and get an IV at a store. Have you seen those?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, little IV places. Like, so if you're feeling hungover or you're sick, you can go. You go to it's not an urgent care. It's not a medical facility at all. And I think it's like 150 bucks,
Yeah, we
and
have
they'll
a
put two pints of 2 units of saline in you. You know.
we have a spa. The lady, I guess they do that legally.
Okay.
There's a buddy of mine that had this when back in the day when we were drinking, single,
Yeah.
and he had this idea that we should be able to buy oxygen in a can, and it would have like a little mask on it. It's like on the guys on the sideline. So when you're
Right.
hungover
Right.
Friday night or whatever, you just hit the can. I think they sell that now.
That'd be tough because of how
Flammable.
flammable it is. Yeah, I think I remember a guy telling me about they were tailgating. They started early. One of those tailgates starts at like 7 a.m. and the game's not till 8 p.m.
Yeah.
And there was a guy there who basically had 5 or 6 chairs lined up, and for $20 you could get a saline, and he'd put an IV in you and refill you with saline so you could make it to the evening,
To the game.
rehab and make it to the game. So
Yeah, you do too much of that, and suddenly you're
Jackson
Michael Jackson. Yeah,
with
and it's like,
propofol, yeah, that's a little different, Dave. Saline and propofol,
I think
just
he was tired though. He wanted to sleep, right?
yeah. Well, saline doesn't put you to sleep. It just
No, but
yeah.
I'm saying when you start administering your own medications, where do you
Okay.
draw the line?
I drew it at heroin.
Yeah, I mean, once you're cooking a spoon, behind the house, that's not good. We shouldn't laugh about that.
Why?
I don't know.
You shouldn't do it.
So I had a little something from last week's show. We were talking about Kevin McHale being on Cheers. And so I don't know why I looked him up because you said he was a center,
No.
or I said he was a center, but he's 6'10", and he played forward like Larry Bird was 6'10", and he played forward too. So I don't know. I guess McHale might have popped in as center once in a
He
while.
might, yeah, he probably he filled
But
in or
do you
whatever.
know the connection with him to Cheers?
No.
His wife. His wife was on the show.
Oh, really? Who
Yeah.
was she? Do you know?
Hang on. Alexa, volume 10. Nothing like being prepared.
Yeah.
Alexa, who was Kevin McHale's wife on Cheers?
From PopMatters.com. We often watch as Kevin's wife, Allison McRoberts, Annie Murphy, is verbally abused and treated poorly by Kevin and the other characters under the pretense of humor. By the way, you have a new notification. Do you want to hear it?
No.
So that's not even answering the right question.
Yeah, hold on a second. Alexa, who is Kevin McHale, NBA basketball player, married to?
From Wikipedia.org. On June 26, 1982,
There we go.
McHale married his wife Lynn.
Okay.
How do you
Alexa,
spell it?
what character did Lynn McHale play on Cheers?
From Funtrivia.com. He is probably best known for his character Robin Colquitt on Cheers.
I don't know. I read somewhere, I was reading the Wikipedia and a bunch of stuff, and all of a sudden
Yeah.
it said she's on Cheers. And that's
I'm
how I
trying
knew.
to read it on IMDb, but the ads are overlapping, and they show her in a they show Cheers, Lynn McHale Cheers, but I'm trying to figure out what she did.
I don't know.
And she was on as Lynn McHale, so I don't know what part
Okay.
It's good you did research, though. I
Well,
appreciate that.
I think today's show is going to be somewhat representative of the way I feel.
Really? Well,
So-
yeah, it doesn't account for my. So I
yeah,
need
what
to.
happened to you? You got a little injury there.
Yeah, I mouthed off to someone, and
Someone popped you?
yeah, right in the kisser. No, I had the fortunate experience this week of getting a crown on one of my teeth, one of my tooths, and apparently he had that whole side numbed up. But apparently he told me, you know how they hold your mouth open and everything and suck all the water out of you. I guess my lip got real dry, and when it stretched, it cracked right there. At least that's what he said. Maybe, yeah,
Were you
I
out?
did. I did black out for a few minutes, so maybe
What do you do?
something
You
happens.
go to that dentist,
No.
that Seinfeld's dentist,
Yeah, anti-dentite. Remember that?
who
Speaking
takes
of-
the nitrous oxide hit himself?
So, no, yeah. So I didn't feel it, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And after we're done, he's like, "Sorry, I kind of nicked your lip there." And I'm like, "Okay, nick your lip, no big deal." And I get out to the car and I look at that thing, and I'm like, "Good Lord, that's not a nick. That's a freaking slash."
So on
my
the way
lip.
out of his office, did you just grab his license and his degree
Yeah.
off the wall and said, "I'll be taking this"?
Yes. Listen, buddy, this one's on the house, right? That's what I should have said. Or you're gonna
This
meet
is
my
the
lawyer.
dentist office that Woody built.
Yes. So
All right, so you're going to be okay.
yes,
Little,
yes. Apparently, I got to go back again to get the right now. I don't know. Sure. It's right there. I got to.
Do an
That's they have
ice
a
or something?
temporary one on it, and then they'll come back and put glue the permanent one on. So it's the same tooth that I got like an inlay 20 years ago on. So
I
apparently
got to go
one
to the
tooth,
dentist. Ugh.
one
Smoking cigars, one of the side effects is it loosens your teeth. And I've
Why?
got my mother's teeth. Well, not literally. That'd be weird. Like, well, she's dead. She didn't need them. I'll take them.
What's she gonna do with them?
Yeah. So the bottom rack, I never had braces, and so they're all jumbled up down there. I'm like an Englishman with my a Scottishman.
One kid in the whole elementary school got braces when we were kids. Now
Yeah.
there's one kid who doesn't get braces.
Yeah, we used to get beat up if we had braces. It was like, and now
Really?
the kids. Well, I mean, you didn't want to hit them too much because of that thing they had on their head, but
No, not that kind of brace. That's the one. You're talking about the whole garb on the
headset.
outside. Yeah, I'm talking about just regular braces.
No, that's the kind we had was the headset. We didn't have the good ones. Like
Are you serious?
Yeah. I didn't have them, but that's when you got braces. It was like, oh God, no, we don't want to do that. But then now, like you say, you're an ostracized if you don't have braces. It's like, you're a mutant.
I was blessed with a good set of teeth. So
Yeah.
they keep trying to tell me to whiten them. I'm like, why?
My father had all of his teeth removed when he was in his early 20s. Yeah, he didn't have a tooth in his head. He had an upper full plate and a lower full plate of dentures. And you didn't know it until he'd be home sleeping in the chair, or he'd have a couple belts and he'd do this little joke where
Yeah.
he would do something with him, and it was funny. But
Was there a reason for this? He just didn't. He wasn't up to the idea of brushing every day,
no,
or
I
what was?
think he was born in 1924. So I don't think dental hygiene was cracked up to what it is today, and he had genetically probably poor teeth,
Yeah.
and so combination of things, he just had them removed over his time.
Hmm.
But you would never know it unless
Right.
he was very fortunate, had great denture work done. All I remember is one time he cracked his upper plate where he had ice. He couldn't chew ice apparently.
Okay.
So I might do that one day. Who knows? Might get dentures.
Well, it's not. Like I said, it's a lot easier to drop your teeth in a cup at night than to have to brush them all day. And when you get something stuck in there, you just pull them out and
Yeah, I mean,
put them
like
back
I said,
in.
you never knew the man didn't have teeth, but whatever.
Plus, you could have like different dentures for the days of the week. You get like what do they call that? A grill when you get them all gold capped and everything
Like
else.
for parties and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Like match your
Hey, it's
suit
Halloween.
jacket
What are you wearing today, Leonard?
or your orange set of teeth. You're onto something there, Dave. I think.
I think they were pretty expensive back in the day.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Now you could probably do it a lot cheaper, right? Because they just, well, like with my crown, what they did, they put a 3D scanner in there, and after he cleans the tooth off and everything, they scan it, and then they send it off to a shop, and it just 3D prints a new tooth essentially for me. So once they have the scan of your gums and how it fits, they could just make you anything they want at that point.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right. So when you heading to California?
Well, first of all, the money has shown up for
Oh,
we
very
needed
good.
$6,300 to pay for the rooms. We're $300 over. We've collected $300
Oh,
over, which is
what are you
good.
going to do now?
Well, we got one more check coming in for another $300, and that's actually good because it'll help us with transportation to and from the airport. We're going to get a car service. I think it's going to be $100 each way.
That
And
sounds
then
cheap, actually, but all right. There's
yeah,
6 of you, isn't there?
five.
Right.
So maybe you're right. Maybe $150 or something like that. I
Right.
don't know.
It's LA, buddy.
Well, we're going to fly to Anaheim, and apparently it's not that far from there to Marriott. So
Oh, okay. All right.
if we're
You're flying
lucky,
direct or through Atlanta or
no.
something?
So we're going U.S. Air,
US Air still?
Southwest, Southwest Air.
Really?
Yeah. So we fly. So we didn't pay for the flights. My CTE
Yeah.
Career Technology did.
All right.
And so we had it booked through United, and then the lady got, no, we're not doing that. And so she booked. It's like $560 a person round trip. It's not bad.
Right.
So we fly out through
On Southwest, it's 560 a round trip. I think
Yeah.
it'd be cheaper on Southwest, but okay.
Yeah, so I think we fly out the 28th Saturday around 1 p.m. our time.
You going through Love Field in Dallas then?
We do. We go to Love Field. Thank you for helping me with that. We go to Love Field in Dallas, and then we lay over for an hour and a half, and then pick up a flight into John Wayne Airport at Anaheim. And we get there about
Oh.
9 o'clock Western time. So I'm not going to make it to the baseball game, which is fine. That saves us some money.
Right.
And the headache. And then we get to check in, sleep in.
You'll be up
Sunday-
early, but that's okay.
Well, Sunday morning, we can kind of lay around because we have an opening ceremony that night.
Hmm.
So we don't have any performances. Our guys can take it easy and catch up. And then Sunday night, we have opening ceremonies. Monday, the kids perform on Monday.
Who's lighting the torch this year? Any of your kids? Opening ceremonies?
Not the Special Olympics. I
They
don't
do
know.
that to regular Olympics too, Dave. Just
No,
FYI.
so I don't know about the torch, but anyway, so Monday they do their performance. If they're qualified, they'll come back with a callback on Tuesday. If they're not, then we're just gonna lay
Got
by the
nothing to
pool
do on
probably.
Tuesday, yeah. You could always take the Well, now there's all sorts of new rules on Southwest. I can't remember what they are. Is it now you
Well,
pay for your bags?
Well, yeah, we're gonna have to explore that, and we have to get seating too.
Yeah, the way the seating used to work is you got like a number,
Yeah, you
and
got
then you stood
free
in
for
that.
all.
and then you stood in that section and you went on in line, and it was, like you said, it was a free for all for seats. So I've only flown them once. No problem. I flew from Nashville to Seattle on them.
No, we
Can't
flew
think
to
if I ever flown.
Chicago and St. Louis last summer, so it's going to be another
Okay.
summer. So then on the way home, we leave kind of a late trip out at 1 o'clock, leaving the airport in Anaheim, which is nice, good to kind of sleep in. Usually we're up at 6 to catch a bus at 7, which I hate doing. But then we're gonna fly through Nashville on the way home.
Isn't that weird? That's where I flew to Seattle from. Went to Nashville because it was like kind of a mini hub for Southwest or something. It seemed
Yeah.
odd, but it was like, all right, go, because we have that place outside Knoxville. So it was a 4-hour ride. We saved several $100s by going out of Nashville versus anywhere else. Charlotte's a tough place to fly in and out of cheap. So
You got to check in with Chris for me and see if he's going.
he's not.
Oh, you did check in?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I did. Yeah, he didn't have anybody going to nationals this year, so he
Did
will
you
not
tell him
be
I was
there.
going?
Yeah, yeah. He said, "Well, good for him. Let him deal with it."
Yeah. It's been
But at least you get to take your wife.
yeah, no, that's going to be fun. And it's interesting because she's, I'm sick, and so she's down in Orlando at Disney on a conference for work. So I got a kitchen pass. Instead of bourbon going down, I'm drinking Gatorade.
We'll put a
and
little bourbon in it,
doing
maybe.
laundry,
Help
doing
you
laundry at
sleep.
4 o'clock this morning. That's fun. But what was I
Yeah.
saying? Oh, so she sends me a text and says, "I think we should do an adult Disney weekend this summer." I'm
All
like,
right.
okay.
Like instead of the parks, do the Disney dining and things of that nature instead, or to go to because you're not going to ride rides necessarily. Maybe Epcot, but
No, we the speak of the devil. Sheila's just checking in. Hey, Sheila.
we'll tell her we're busy right now.
Hey, we're on a podcast, Sheila.
And don't be interrupting the show.
Well, can I call you later?
There you go,
I'll
Dave,
call you
taking
back.
personal calls in the middle of a podcast.
Well, we're a pretty big thing. I think you go. She's at Coronado Springs or something. I don't know where that is.
Yeah, I do. I'm
Yeah.
surprised that's still there.
Well, it's been expanded. It's the convention center now for the.
Oh, it's like occasionally they strip it down, build it back up, call it something else, just to make it sound like it's new, kind of thing. But
Well,
yeah,
when
Coronado
I go-
Springs has been around since I was there.
Yeah, that was one of the first properties. I remember going there when we were just married and had a new family. Sarah, I don't think Sarah was with us yet. We hadn't had Sarah yet, and we went to Coronado Springs, and I grew up there in Orlando, and
Right.
so we checked in this little tiny hotel with the outdoor doors. I'm like, hell no, I'm not staying on the property in this dump. So then when I picked up the phone, I said, Grand Floridian, please.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, and I said, I'm not spending money in this, staying in this dump. So we went and
Right.
spent the week at Grand Floridian.
Yeah, they have different levels, and we never stayed. I think the ESPN All-Star Resort is one of the 1-star resorts or something like that. Man,
I
it's
like going to the Wilderness Lodge. If we're
but
gonna
don't
stay
you have
on-
to have a camper for that?
No,
isn't
that's
that-
Camp Wilderness.
Oh,
But the Wilderness Lodge is like staying in Yosemite. It's a big log
I don't know if that was
cabin.
open. Yeah, I don't think that was open yet when I left there.
Because it feels like you're not at Disney. It feels like you're somewhere else.
Right.
Apparently,
Hey.
the Animal Kingdom's pretty good too.
I think last time we went with the kids, Evan was probably 5 or 6. And we didn't discover we always stay when we did go, we like to stay on property because it's like all inclusive basically. You don't
Yeah.
got to worry about crap at that point. You're there,
Yeah.
you're good.
Catch a boat,
And-
catch a tram.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. And we didn't figure out a great strategy till the last day we're there, and that is if you stay on property, the parks in the summertime, they used to do this, would stay open an extra 2 to 3 hours in the evening,
Mhm.
and it was only for on property people. Everybody else had to get out, so the lines are a lot less. Well, and the temperatures are down, so we did. We spent the afternoon at the pool the last day we're there, then went to the park that night. And man, we did the entire Magic Kingdom that night. The kids had a blast. They were able to run around. And I'm like, why didn't we do this every night? Because every night the different park has the extended
Right.
hours. And we're like, we should have just relaxed, hung out at the pool, which for the Pale family that I have is, we hang
Yeah.
out at the pool. That's an hour and a half, maybe
Yeah.
at most, even with SPF 700 on, we have to,
The
we have to
blanket.
curtail our time out in the open. So,
Look,
yeah,
Mom,
that's
aliens.
I always said if I go back, that's when play golf during the day or something, and then go to the parks at night when it's cooler and lot less people there. So
Well, there you go. The Disney update. I'm not really motivated to give them any money, but for her to
Right.
say that, for her to say we should do it, I'm like, that'd be a nice time for us.
Yeah.
And she likes Disney,
and they have
I
good
get
dining,
it.
and they have good dining, and there's decent entertainment and everything of that nature. So
Drink up, Shriners.
I always thought it was a good. I worked there for a little bit, did my time
No,
with the
it's
House of the
a
Mouse.
reasonable value. I mean, it's
Right.
not something I want to do every day, but yeah.
And if you want, I'll let you know how we snuck in one time. If you want to use that for your.
Well, we used to jump the fence behind Space Mountain.
Because I had worked there, I knew the back gates and everything. So we would just walk up to where employees walk in and out, and we just walked in this before. I'm sure they have security and cameras and stuff now, but
So
back in the 90s, there was none of that. So
when we were in high school, we would go out there, and let me back up. In junior high, we had a fellow by the name of Mr.
Mr. Mouse,
Mr. Powell,
Mm.
Powell. He was a retired Marine. He was a man my size, bigger than me. He was the guy that would, the first day of school with your parents, he would tell you, if your kid acts up, I'm gonna take him in the back room and just beat the hell out of him. So it was like, okay,
and
I
the
get
parents
it.
like, fine.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
saves me having to put the effort in.
Well, in the summer, he worked at Disney on Main Street as a security guard,
Okay.
as a clothed security guard.
Right.
And so someone got wind to us in high school. Space Mountain had just opened up, and there's a fence around the back
Yeah.
of the property. So we would park. I don't think the river. I think it was Camp Wilderness. I can't remember what the lot was, but we would
Right.
park over there and scale the fence behind Space Mountain, and that would put us in Tomorrowland. And so he was back there he was dressed up like a Main Street police officer.
Yeah,
Like-
like the old timey
Yeah.
Keystone Cop or something. Yeah.
So he caught us coming over the fence one night, and like he was about ready to throw us into the fence and knock us out, But then I recognized him, and said, "Hey, Mister, it's us." He was cool. He was cool about it, but we were in trouble, to some
Yeah.
extent. But yeah, we used to jump the fence behind there. I don't know.
We
numerous
used to
times.
park at the Contemporary, and then you'd walk like you're going to the front where the tickets are, and about halfway there was an underpass of the railroad,
Yeah.
and you could just walk under that, and you were in the backstage area right behind the Wee Way People Mover or something like that.
Yeah.
And I knew where to walk out, and we'd come out right next to the President's Library or
Well,
whatever.
and this
it
was before all today. I'm sure it's just covered in security cameras.
Yeah,
They had cameras.
To be honest with you, we the one time we were doing it, we got halfway under the tunnel, and we saw somebody. So we're like, so we hid behind like a tree next to the train tracks. Well, between the time of the people getting out of the way and us being able to go in, a train came by, and we're like, great. And we're just standing there. Obviously, we're not Disney employees, and the guy, and we're watching all the tourists go by, and we're like, oh. And then at the end of the train was an employee, and you could tell he saw us, and he's like immediately on the phone, like. But by the time someone got there, we were inside the park, and so we left the same way. And the security was waiting around there somewhere, and they pulled us, not pulled us over, but pulled up to us, like, hey, what are you guys doing? We're like, we're leaving the park. And they're like, well, why aren't you coming out through the gates? I'm like, I don't know. It just got lost, took a shortcut, saw a door, took a shortcut. And we had convinced them that we hadn't snuck in. somehow, some way, and
Yeah.
so we evaded the Disney security police that evening.
We used to terrorize that place. It was I don't want to play one-upmanship, but
Yeah, I never did it. That was I didn't. The only reason we snuck in is just to prove we could. We got to
well, I
a
think I was in junior high I didn't play football in junior high, but I was in the band, and our marching band performed at Disney World one Christmas.
okay.
And so we had, they bring us out and they gave us tickets and they put us behind the Pirates of Caribbean entrance so you would end up at Main Street where the big doors open up and Mickey Mouse Parade
Right.
comes out. But then they told us where the gate was to get you through the back lot to get you to
Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean. And so we're all like, we know what we're doing. So it's all of us guys were back then. Chewing tobacco was a big thing. So
In
we're all
marching band.
yeah, I didn't understand that because I blew a horn instrument. And that was never a good idea. But so we all
Good thing I
got
had a spit valve.
pouches of Levi Garrett with us,
Oh.
and so we're in I think it was Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. We're spitting on all the city down below. And they stop the ride, turn all the lights on inside, and they're like, "Okay, you clowns, you can't
Right. Yeah.
do this." So then we get to Pirates of the Caribbean, and someone gets the idea we should jump boats, and so we get, there's a section where the ride gets close to another boat.
Yeah, there's no person on the boat with you. That's right. They're all
Right.
on a track. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're bow to stern, and
Right.
people start jumping the boats, and boom, the whole thing stops. The lights come on. It's like
It's so disappointing when they turn the lights on in those rides because you're like, oh my God, it's a dump in here.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
but it's eerie. It's effective. It makes you
Yeah.
stop. So anyway,
We had the lights come on
childish.
in Space Mountain once. They stopped the ride and they turned the lights on. And man, that looks like you remember that Mousetrap game?
Yeah.
Yeah, you play. It looked like the tracks on the mount. It's like, how does this thing even stay together? It's so rickety looking, and it's just, rungs of steel, just kind of
Like a big
mishmashed
jungle
together.
gym. Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of cool because we got this ride. We were just about at the end of it, and it stopped, and then we're sitting there, and an announcement came on. And was in California. It was me and the hotelier, Brad and Sam and JoJo, I think. And we were stuck, and for a good 10 minutes, so the lights are on, so we were looking around. And then when the ride was ready to start again, in the way the line works at the California ride, it's at Disneyland, it wraps around the area where you get on the coaster, right? So when you get on the coaster, there's a couple hundred people wrapping the room by that time. So the ride's down for 10 minutes or so, and so people are getting anxious, and we're the first car to roll back into that area because they said we could go again. So we didn't get out, or we roll back in, and everybody's cheering because now the ride's working, but we're acting like it's because we're in the room as the ride rolls in. Like, all right, guys, shut up. If you want to ride again, put your hands down. Let's go. So that's
good times.
Yeah, so that was a couple of my stories from there. Hey, before we do wrap it up tonight, actually, we got 12 minutes. I got a jury duty summons.
Wow.
Yeah.
What are you gonna go? You gonna do your civic
Well,
duty?
I don't really have a choice, do I?
Well, you can get out of it.
No, how?
Well, you have to say something when you get there.
Well, you still got to go. You still gotta, yeah, we were talking about at work. It's the only good time there is to be a racist is in jury duty. Because if you act racist or say racist things, you're probably not going to get seated.
And then get pummeled in the parking lot by the people.
Well, hopefully by that time they're all stuck in a jury room, and you're headed home.
Well, let's put this in perspective real quick. Let's be patriots for a second. If you think about it, I've gotten out of a couple of them for work and something else, but then the Constitution guarantees us a jury of our peers.
Yes.
And so we've all seen on TV or news cases where the jury was not probably of the guy's, legitimate peers. And so
Right.
did he get a fair trial? And so I always wonder about that now that I'm older. I'm like, it is really instead of me trying to con it and get out of it because I'm lazy and I don't want to do it, I should do it. But I haven't been called in I don't know how long.
Well, a couple things. One is listening to. I mean, even if you're in it, Dave, the most attorneys can now win or lose a case based on their jury, right? They know who they need in that jury box to win, whatever, if they're prosecuting or they're defending. Usually it's the defenders that have all the money, right? The prosecutors are, government employees. So they know how to win a case. So usually they're trying to find someone who, so they put a lot of money and a lot of effort into jury selection, and they know which way you lean based on, just
Yeah.
a couple quick questions. They know how to see the jury. So most of the time they want someone who's malleable, right? Especially if you're defending someone like an O.J. Simpson, right, where 90% of the world has already put him convicted, right?
Right.
They want to see the jury with someone who's malleable, and that's usually not someone who's very intelligent, right? So you're not, and so they find that, and then the other one is basically if you're going to lean in the direction that they need you to, they're going to try and seat you as well.
Is that why Norm Macdonald was never chosen to be on OJ's trial jury?
You froze on me, Dave. So
Is that why?
That's why he got fired from SNL. It was for all the OJ jokes. I wish I knew some of them right now. They were
it
hilarious.
wasn't a joke. It was just conversational where he'd be talking about something. Well,
Yeah.
OJ killed that girl. I mean, he murdered his girlfriend.
So, but yeah, so it's tough to be for anybody of consequence. It's tough to be seated in this day and age. One of the so I never got jury duty ever called for the first probably 40 years of my life. Now, obviously, 18 of those I wasn't even eligible, but so a good 22 years went by, and we were at work one day, and everybody's talking about jury duty. I said, "Oh man, I have yet to be called to jury duty. It's been 22 years, not never even received a letter, blah blah blah." And the guy he cube over me, he's like, "Yo, you just jinxed yourself, buddy." I'm like, "What? I've told this story 100 times." I said, "How I've never been jury. That night I get home and I got a jury summons."
Are you a registered voter?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I read independent, but yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so
Some states it's not, it's licensed driver's. It depends on the state now.
yeah,
how
Sarah
you
just
can be
got
called.
one in the mail yesterday, so I gotta.
There's
I-
usually a number on there too. So like today I looked at mine and it said you can only be called, because this is the third one I've gotten since that story. And one was just a few years ago. And I thought, I said, there's a time limit. You can't serve like back to back to back. So I said 2 years. So I emailed them and they emailed me back. It'll be 3 years, 2 days or something like that since I last served on it. Well, so for me, the two prior times, the first time I went, there were no cases that day. So they sent us home. I was home by 10 a.m. And the next time I went, they called me outside. I got put in a pool, and then they just stood us outside the courtroom and they said, "Hey, I guess they settled the case. You can go back to the waiting room." And then they told us, "Hey, you've already been called once. Go ahead. You can leave. You don't need to." So I'm like, all right. So I'm hoping for 3 times the charm and same situation. So
maybe a settlement. Yeah.
well, it's nice. They have a really nice Mecklenburg County here in the Carolinas has a really nice jury area. They get like, yeah, it's sweet. It's full of vending machines.
Starbucks. It's got nice.
I'm not lying. They have three. It's like two little theater sections, right?
Huh.
And then some seating like not deli, what am I like Starbucks kind of seating in other areas, and they show movies. They show a movie on the big screens.
I guess they want you to.
Yeah,
They
and
like the
some
DMV.
areas, yeah, and then they have a little area if you want to work, for like your laptop and stuff, if you want to sit there and work and do that. So it's a very pleasant area. And the lady who runs it now, feel like I know her. I've been there twice in
Well,
15
they pay you
years.
like $12 or something like that to $25. I can't remember.
Yeah,
how
I
much.
forget what the rate is they give you, but it's not enough. But your work has to cover you, at least in the Carolinas. You still paid
Yeah,
full
last
rate at
time I
work.
went, I was working for CFI, and you had to forfeit your 25 or $12 to your employer, and your employer paid you.
Would pay you full rate. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I don't think they even asked for it because not
It's
that I would
negligible.
give them the $12 if that's what it meant, if they were
Yeah.
really into it for that. But so yeah, I'll be July 3rd, all days to go.
That's when I'm flying back, July 3rd.
Okay. The previous time I deferred twice because we were in the middle of a huge project at work, and I kept deferring, but they don't let you out of it. You can only defer twice here in North Carolina, and then you got to take whatever date they give you. So I kept deferring it, and that's where it ended up.
Well,
So-
maybe you'll get a good case, and you'll
I
be
don't want to
sequestered
be.
and
I
for
can't
6
make.
months, and
There's no way I can make. I see both sides. Yeah, as you know me, I see both sides of every argument, and I couldn't convict just because I'd be like, I get his point, kind of thing. Unless it was, because then you're not going to get a case that's easy to decide on, because why would it go to jury unless the guy's crazy, whoever it is it's accused is crazy and just wants their time in court, which some do that, right? They know they're guilty, they know they're going to jail, so they're like, hey, you know what, why don't I buy a few more weeks and have a jury trial instead of settling and going to jail instead. So
or he's innocent and he's trying
Well,
not to be put
right,
away.
but my problem was I'd see both sides of the story. I'd see the prosecutor and the defender side of the story. I'm like, I'm hung. So I don't know what the rules are here for whatever case it is, but my friend's a lawyer here. I'm just going to ask him what I have to say to get out of jury duty. So he won't tell me. But
All right.
I know that lawyer. So it's Angelina Jolie's birthday today.
Oh yeah, you gave us some hit those things. Angelina Jolie's birthday. I saw an interview with her. She wanted to be. What was her early career choices? Something weird. Not that it matters. I don't. She's a basket case, isn't she?
Yeah, to some extent, I guess. The Dunkirk evacuation ended on this day. Oh, here we go. Speaking of Dunkirk, Reinhard Heydrich. What did he do? He died on this day. That's nice. That's good to know.
I thought you said today was Cheese Day or something.
Oh, that's right. I sent those 3 to you. Yeah. It's National Cheese Day, Hug Your Cat Day, and can you look up that third one? Do you have it handy by
Yeah.
chance? Because I was like, which 2 aren't you doing today? And so, because the third one was kind of weird too, wasn't it?
It says first, pat first, then wipe. Oh, that's something else. Hold on. That's a different.
I thought I was pretty funny with that statement, by the way. I was giggling.
Oh wow, we've texted a bunch. National
Yeah.
Cheese Day, Hug Your Pussy Day. Excuse me, cat. And Global Running Day. Well, I've got
Oh, that's it. Hey, your buddies are in the front yard. If I could, let me see. Hold on now. Oh, I got that stupid background on. Else,
Yeah.
if I didn't have the background on, I'd show you your buddies in my front yard. There's so far 4 have come by.
Well, I'm looking
So.
to see if I got any of mine, but it's okay.
All right.
Any buck yet? Any antlers?
I don't. So here comes some more. Yeah. No.
You got any fawns? Any babies?
No,
Babies?
not recently, but they're pretty. There's some are pretty small. They just lost their spots. I see them out there. But so this guy at work today, I'm talking. We're looking out the window, and there's a bunch of squirrels out there or whatever. We saw a bunny rabbit. That's what it was. I was coming in the office, and I noticed up. So our office is surrounded by windows, and the floor to ceiling window things.
Mhm.
And I noticed there was this little fur thing up against the window on the sidewalk, but up against the window. And I'm like, oh man, what died? Ran into. I thought maybe something ran into the window and died, or some animal crawl. It was a tiny little bunny rabbit about this
No.
big. So I told someone in the office. They came out, and he went to touch it, like pick it up. I'm like, what are you, crazy? You think it'll bite you or something? And it just jumped and ran off. And he goes, oh man, he told me a groundhog comes up. He showed me a picture. A groundhog at his house comes up. He feeds it bananas, and the groundhog comes up and like knocks on the sliding glass door for bananas. And he said he doesn't live in a very rural place.
Is he Dr. Doolittle or something?
That's what I'm starting to think. I'm like, because he did. I mean, the bunny let him touch it. It's just when he went to pick the bunny up, because he was going to move, take it somewhere.
Those little brown hairs that run around in the wild?
I don't know. It ran also, but it was so small. That was, I assumed it was a baby, but
tiny
yeah,
bunny. Just a teeny tiny bunny.
Yeah. But so he showed you a picture of the groundhog knocking on his back door for bananas. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So, all right, man. Well, we're over. You made it.
I know. Whew.
You're gonna go. Right. Never mind. I won't say it. I was gonna make a euphemism for something, but it's not gonna work tonight. You're not gonna laugh. So
that's it.
why don't you say goodnight? We're not going to spaces though.
Yeah, no, we're not. I don't think
All
that's appropriate.
No.
I got to call Sheila. All right. Well, thanks, Woody, for giving me the chance to put the best effort forward. I think we had a good show. So
Yeah.
good time. Good catching up. If you're listening to us on Spotify, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio, just keep doing it. Our listenership's up. Definitely. Listenership's up. And over on YouTube, I watched Sunday's show. It was a good show.
Yeah. I got to figure out how to get subscribers. We are lacking in that.
Did you see that email I sent you about?
Yeah, it didn't really get into that, but we don't need to waste time on here.
Yeah.
With
Okay.
That, but
all right. Well, if you're watching us on YouTube, or if you're not aware that we're on YouTube, it's where you can help with Dave and Woody. Go over there and subscribe.
See my lip cut.
Yeah. All right, my friend. It was always a pleasure. I don't know what episode this is. It's a bunch. But anyway, we'll catch you next week, right?
All right, man.
All right. Peace out. Okay, stop recording.